Hi, this is Rye from Mediasphere, and I'm going to be reviewing the new Superman film directed by James Gunn that starts this new DC universe that James Gunn is shepherding and running with Peter Safran. But before I get into my review, I'm going to say my expectations for the film before seeing it that were I saw two trailers and I didn't know what to think about the film. But I was going into the film hoping to at least like it because I really want to see DC succeed and have a successful, beloved universe like Marvel had, with the MCU in the first 10 years, starting with Iron Man to Avengers Endgame. But without forgetting that Marvel has still had success with Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange 2, plus things that were great like Thunderbolts and Daredevil Born Again. So on to the subject, I want to see DC be liked by the general movie-going audience. So into my review in the spoiler-free section. I want to say the movie was way better than I thought it would be. Because I was going into it with lukewarm expectations, not knowing what it would be like. But I really liked the film, so I thought to say what I liked about the film, which is it felt like the DC animated series or animated movies, like people were saying. Felt like a comic book come to life, and the color palette of the movie also looks like a comic book, which is very cool to embrace the comic bookiness since it's adapted from a comic book. And usually, comic book movies don't look very vibrant in their color palette like this film. And also, some films like to ground themselves in reality of ours in some way, like the Dark Knight trilogy and the Batman, which I love those films. But it's cool to see a comic book movie unashamed of that it's adapted from a comic book. Plus, I liked most of the characters, like Lois Lane, played by Rachel Brosnahan, who plays the classic reporter. Plus, we got other characters like Jimmy Olsen being the comic book, the classic Jimmy Olsen, and Guy Gardner being Guy Gardner, being Reverend sarcastic superhero. And we have Metamorpha, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, plus Lex Luthor, who is played by Nicholas Hoult, who seems this Lex Luthor hates everything Superman stands for and hates people who pay attention to Superman and look up to him. They wants to ruin Superman's reputation. And lastly, and most importantly, finally, the main star, Superman, played by David Corenswet, who plays this version, which goes back to the sensibilities of Christopher Reeve's version of Superman, but in a different way because it's 2025 instead of the 1970s. Plus, I love, after years of brooding and dark Superman adaptations, we got a hopeful Superman who loves saving lives. Like during a battle with a kaiju, he saves people and a dog and a squirrel because he loves life. He doesn't save people because of the obligation. He does it out of the kindness of his heart and soul because it's the right thing to do for him. Also, when he hurts people's feelings, he feels bad about it because he cares about people. Plus, I also really liked the scenes with Superman and Lois And the scene between Clark slash Superman with Pa Kent and also Krypto was cute. By the way, so now I'm going to get into the spoiler section. Now, so a dilemma in the film is the message from Krypton from Jor-El and Laura Van that at the beginning of the movie when Superman is beat up and calls for Krypto to bring him to the Fortress of Solitude to heal by the robots while they are healing him. They say Superman is soothed by a message from his Krypton parents. But later on, Lex wants anything to put on Superman's name in the dirt. That he can. So he goes to Fortress of Solitude and finds incriminating things to use against Superman. Because Superman only heard the first part of the message, but when he heard the second part of the message, he was actually sent here to be a dictator and enslave and not help people, and goes through a dilemma. But at the nearest almost end of the movie, but not the end of the movie, there is a scene where after Superman was being imprisoned by Lex in the pocket dimension with Metamorpha and got out by Lois and Mr. Terrific's help, he asked to be brought home to Ma and Pa Kent to rest, and after that he's sitting out on the bench on the Kent farm, and in one of the most emotional scenes in the film was when Pa Kent went to sit with his son Clark Kent, when Clark still has a dilemma of his birth parents, but Pa Kent says, parents aren't here to tell their children who they're supposed to be. We are here to give y'all the tools to help you make fools of yourselves all on your own. Your choices, Clark, your actions, that's what makes you who you are. Let me tell you something, son. I couldn't be more proud of who you are. So basically, also saying that you interpreted it as good because you are a person of good character who believes the best in people, and that makes you who you are. Like all the times in the film, he was saving people from destruction and even saving dogs and squirrels because he just loves life. Helping people and even believing the best in people, even if they aren't the best of people with good intentions. It's not like Superman slash Clark is a perfect person, but he tries his best to put one foot in front of the other to better himself as a person and be a decent, kind human being because he's not less human than anyone else. And that's what people who read comics and watch movies and shows love Superman. Because Superman is someone who they aspire to want to be. Also, a little aside, the whole Jor-El thing didn't really bother me. Maybe it's because I'm not a diehard Superman fan, but also the Jor-El thing went to a story about giving Superman a dilemma in a film, and then at the end realizing his parents were his Kansas parents that raised him his whole life and taught him, and instead he was playing the memories of his parents at Smallville. So, also the Kara Supergirl being drunk thing I didn't fully understand because I didn't read the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow comic. But ending thoughts, I'm excited to see the future of this new DC universe. I really liked the movie. And to end it off, I wish y'all have a great day.